evening and welcome to Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Kingsley Emmanuel and I'm very happy to be here this evening to bring you up to speed with the latest revolving around the water sports. Top one out menu this evening. We shall take an in-depth review and preview for the UEFA Champions League matches tonight, as well as other stories revolving around the water sports. It promises to be an exciting edition of the show, as we should take a look at how Team Nigeria are faring at the All African Games as well. Take a short break and we'll come back from the break. We'll bring you all that you need to know revolving around the water sports at the moment. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Oh, what a point to end it on! 12 years for this, so drink it in. Still goes along with the to the immortality of an athlete, 90.79, it's a goal indeed.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honourable
You human traffickers.
Honourable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people. All of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody. I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
University Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. And of course, totally ready to bring you up to speed with the latest revolving round the world of sport. Joining me on today's edition of the show is Emmanuel Michael. Good evening to you and welcome to another exciting edition of Sports Extraordinary.
Good evening to you, Kingsley, and good evening to our viewers out there. It's always a beautiful moment to talk sports.
Michael, let's take a look at the situation with how teams Team Nigeria, of course, they are faring at the All-African Games. We hear that different federation, of course, they are in the All-African Games down there in Ghana preparing. The Wrestling Federation left yesterday. We'll talk about other federations as well, weightlifting and the rest of them. They are already there in Ghana preparing for the official opening of the All-African Games that will be coming up, of course, on the 8th, which is on Friday of this month. And we'll see how Team Nigeria, of course, will perform. But Michael, from what we've seen so far, the table tennis events, is on already. And Nigeria's highest ranked table tennis player, Aruna Quadri, lost the men's singles final for the table tennis event of the 2024 African Games to reach rival Omar Sarr in Accra, Ghana. In Accra, Ghana. Now, Quadri lost 4-3 to the Egyptian to settle for silver, Nigeria's second medal at the Games after Ofyongadem had earlier claimed bronze in the women's singles event yesterday. Quadri, who is making his fourth appearance at the Games in Accra since his debut at the 2011 edition in Maputo, Mozambique, has never won an African Games gold medal. And of course, this time around, one man that has really been on his neck, talking about Omar Sarr of Egypt, actually took him down in the men's singles final in the All-African Games in Ghana this year.
It wasn't a very happy moment for Haruna Quadri. For me, I think this is the only trophy that is missing in his cabinet, the male single, when you talk about the African competition as the, and coming into that very one, we thought maybe he's going to go a step further, by making sure that he clinched this one. Coming up against a very strong opponent in Omar Sarr, who also defeated this same Haruna Quadri in 2015. I think it was quite disappointing because for me, I expected him to go a step better than what we would have what he did last time out, but then it wasn't to be. I said the game of sports out there, it's either you win or you lose, but then I think for me, I expected Haruna Quadri, considering the form that we saw him so far in this competition. Don't forget, he won all of his game coming into the final against Omar Sarr. So I thought maybe he should have been able to bank on the fact that this is the only trophy that is missing in his cabinet, and he would do everything possible to nick it on the board, but then he wasn't to be. He won his first game 3-0, second game 3-1, fourth game 4-0. So he was beaming with confidence heading into the final against Omar Sarr, but I think it was a disappointing moment for him, not being able to lay a hand on the gold medal. But then I think for me, he's 32. In the next 4 years, we'll have another All-African game come by the way. I don't think whether his body will still carry him as a then, because at 32 right now, 4 years to come, he's going to be 36. But I still strongly believe that it can still be very much relevant in the next edition. That maybe you can also use that next edition to see if you can be able to clinch the gold medal in that category. But for me, I think it's a disappointing one generally for Omar Sarr and for Nigeria.
Disappointing one for Aruna Quadri, as it says, and we hope that he'll be able to bounce back, just like Michael mentioned down there. But Michael, it is 2 medals so far for Team Nigeria 2024 African Games in Ghana. We have a bronze from the table tennis event, starts from Ofyongadem, a silver medal from Aruna Quadri, who couldn't, of course, get past Omar Sarr in the men's singles final. So we have a silver and a bronze medal in the competition. And the sport minister, John Wanino, actually told the athletes before they all traveled to Ghana that they should try and make the country proud by being, by putting Nigeria table. I don't know what you make of it. Do you think Nigeria will be at the top of the medal table?
big question, because we know that Tunisia has been the country that is dominating when it has to do with all African game here. I think Tunisia is also a very strong team as well. They have also sent a very strong contingent for this very one. So, but for Nigeria, performing, I can assure you of that. But coming top in the medal slug at the end of the whole thing, I truly do not think that Nigeria is going to come top. I'm not speaking from pessimistic point of view, but I'm speaking from the realistical point of view, in the sense that some of the sporting
we have up to 400 athletes that will be representing Nigeria in this one in different sports. You have the likes of you have the athletics, you have judo, you have karate, you have weightlifting as well, and so many. So you don't think, with this number, different federation, of course, different federation, coming up to represent the country, you don't think Nigeria should be able, of course, to contend, very, very strongly against other African countries?
It's not about sending a very large number of delegates or contingent out there. It boils down to the sportsmen and women in their different category, talking about the sport ministries in different category. Preparing for this very one. Did they start preparing? What are the challenges that they were facing, and the financial issues that have been devilled at the sport ministry, in different categories? Have they been able to solve that problem? Of course, it is only one department, one or two sport ministry out there that you can beat your chest and say, yes, they've actually prepared very well. When you talk about wrestling, yes, you can beat our chest and say we prepared very well going into this very one, because the wrestlers were actually camped in Abuja for 3 good weeks, and of course, the man that is Wrestling Federation, who also doubles as the sport minister of sport commissioner, who is Daniel Igali. It's one man that I've seen it when you talk about wrestling. He also knows where the shoe pinches. He knows how to get the things done right. He knows the yearnings of the wrestlers out there. That is the only ministry that I can beat my chest and say, yes, they actually have prepared very well and they are ready to go out there. Another ministry, maybe you talk of athletes. We did all of the screening through the door open. We accommodated some even new athletes out there to come and showcase their talent. We were able to pick the best out of them, as part and parcel of those who is going to represent us. But apart from these two ministries, what happened to other ministries in football, in judo, taekwondo? These are some of the challenges. So for me, it does not just boil down to having a large number of contingent going for the All-African game. The question we should be asked, how were they able to prepare heading into this very one? Were they given the necessary preparation? Were they given the necessary support? And are they still being given the necessary support to ensure that they go out there and succeed? That is more of the question we should be asking, because if you ask me, I do not think that Nigeria is going to top the medal slug out there, because like I said, Tunisia, we have other bigger countries as well who also have a stake out there that will be coming to make a very strong statement. Even the host country, talking about Ghana as well, will be aiming to finish on a high note. Egypt, Algeria, these are powerhouses when you talk about African game out there. Not forgetting Senegal as well. So I think Nigeria, we should just lower our expectation and just be hopeful that the girls, the contingent is going to go out there and possibly, come fourth or fifth. If we finish fourth, third, fourth, or fifth is not a bad one. But for us to start aiming high at this point in time, where different sporting federations is actually complaining of one challenges or the other, I think for me, it's going to be a very high expectation, which at the end of it all, if our contingents don't meet up with this high expectation, it will look as though they went there and they failed. So for me, I will advise you, Nigerians, lower your expectations. So whatever comes, we should take it that way.
All right, let's see how it goes, for Team Nigeria in this one. Would they be able to make the country proud in the All-African game, just like we saw the Super Eagles, in the African Cup of Nations? But Michael, let's take our eyes away from preparation. Let's take our eyes away from, the medal table, being top of the medal table. We but we're participating in different sports, in this one. I think about 25 sports, in these All-African Games. We have wrestling, we have athletics, we have karate, we have judo, weightlifting, and the rest. Which of these sports do you think, even though we don't win anything in other sports, that at least we'll be able to get, 1 or 2, 3, 4, or 5 gold medals? Because you getting good when you win a gold medal, a gold medal can take you, of course, to be on top of the medals table. So gold medals, really matters a lot. For the events we've seen in table tennis, we only see 1 silver and 1 bronze, no gold yet, for Nigeria. So which of these sports do you think, the Nigeria really can capitalize on in terms of, clinching those gold medals?
For me, it's very simple. Our area of comparative advantage, it has to do with wrestling. I think this is one area that we can definitely beat our chest and say yes. Whatever happens, we are definitely going to have 1 or 2 gold medals from that sporting department, talking about wrestling, because like I said, that is the only area of comparative advantage. Athletics as well is another area of comparative advantage that we can bank on, that indeed we're going to rack up 1 or 2 gold medals. And of course, it's very, very necessary for we to be aiming for the gold. We shouldn't be satisfied with winning bronze, silver, and all of that. Like you said here, which is quite true, that 1 gold medal is even bigger and higher compared to 10 bronze and silver. If you get to win 10 bronze and 20 silver, compare that with someone who won just 1 gold medal. I think if you want to calculate the medals log, the country that won 1 gold medal in any sporting department comes first in that order, before you talk about the team that won 10 bronze medal and 20 silver medals. So for me, I think that we should be aiming for the gold medals. And these are 2 areas that I've mentioned that we can be able to rely upon and say, yes, whatever comes, we will definitely boast of having 1 or 2 gold medals in that department, because that is our area of comparative advantage. Like I said, wrestling and athletics, definitely we must, as a matter of must, rack up gold medals from that angle. Then before we talk about any other area, maybe in weightlifting as well. Yeah, weightlifting, we can also do that, because it's on record as well that in the past, when you talk about the All-African game, we've been able to rack up 1 or 2 gold medals in weightlifting. So these are some of the areas that we should be hoping, or be hopeful rather, of picking 1 or 2 gold medals.
All right, let's turn our eyes now to tennis, as the Court of Arbitration for Sports yesterday. Court of Arbitration for Sports, talking about CAS yesterday, reduced the 4-year doping ban imposed on Romania's former world #1 Simona Halep to 9 months, which have already been served. The 32-year-old was suspended for 4 years last September by the International Tennis Integrity Agency after 2 separate doping infractions the previous year. The 2-time Grand Slam singles champion appealed to CAS in February, arguing that the positive test was the result of a contaminated product and anomalies in her biological passport could be linked to surgery she had undergone. Halep's career has been on hold since October 7, 2022, a date all for the start of a provisional suspension after testing positive for Rosarostat at the U.S. Open. Michael, what do you make of this? Simona Halep's 4-year ban, has been reduced to 9 months.
It's a happy moment for her, because I think she actually tendered a very cogent and acceptable reason out there, and that is why the International Tennis is it integrated or agency?
Tennis Integrity
Agency. Yeah. I think looking at the evidence that she tendered out there, I was able to convince the body and that is why they had to give her a soft landing, after pleading clemency of being innocent of what they actually charged her of, that in her system. And of course, the excuse or the what she put up was that she wasn't aware about it. she related that maybe it was during the time that she went for surgery rather, that such banned substance was found in her system, which is Rosastat or thereabout. So for me, I think that is a reason that was good enough that actually let her off the hook out there, because if she was unable to tender such reason, I tell you, she would have served that for good years. But then, I want to ask some of these professionals, the moment you turn professional, it should dawn on you that there are certain things that you should stay away from. And you should be careful about the kind of things that you allow into your system, whether you do it knowingly or unknowingly. These are things that whenever you turn a professional, you should be very, very cautious. You should tread with caution the kind of things that you allow into your system, because she had herself being cleared off because of the excuse. What if the table turned around? She should have served for that 4 years, courtesy of your carelessness, because once you turn professional, you shouldn't be oblivion of these certain basic things that, as a professional, these are the standard, these are the guiding rules, this is the extant law that guide this game, and as a professional, I must follow it to the core. So nobody cares whether you took it knowingly or you took it unknowingly. What people cares is that you must compete on a clean slate, and when that is not done, it looks as though you want to shortchange the process, which goes contrary to the guiding principles that guide the game out there. So for me, I think whenever anyone turns professional, be it in athletic or whatever sport, that you should tread with caution, because knowing fully well that there are implications that comes with you flaunting that law, and if you are caught up with it, you will definitely be punished. We've seen some athletes, we've seen some sportsmen and women, courtesy of their carelessness, they've actually been caught in the web of failing or breaching the guiding principles that guide the game, and they go for it. Some of them spend 4 years, some 5 years, some as much as 10 years. What that means is that your career is going to be over, because after being slammed a 10-year suspension when you are 25 or 30, what do you think you can be able to do when you come back after that suspension? It means your career is over. So I think some of these athletes, some of these sportsmen and women should be very, very cautious about what they allow into their system whenever they turn professionals, to avoid some of these challenges and obstacles that they are facing.
All right, good one, of course, for Simona Halep. We hope, of course, she will actually take very, very good, caution going forward, in terms of her health and all of that. But Michael, the sports minister in France actually said that there will be 326,000 tickets, for the Paris Olympic Games opening ceremony. What do you make of the number? 326,000 tickets for the opening ceremony.
Massive one, even when there were fears of terror attack and all of that, all the security challenges that they are also nursing in their heart. But then that notwithstanding, fans are still very much eager to turn out in their numbers to also be part and parcel of the opening ceremony of the Olympic that is coming forth. I mean, for me, I think it's a massive one. It's going to, add more glamour. We are going to see more, fans turn out on the opening ceremony to be able to see the scene out there, the aesthetic scene, the beauty of the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games. So for me, I think it's also encouraging, and as well, not just the ticket as well, they have also made a provision, to give tickets out there to fans out there, thereby also encouraging some of the fans out there to come out in their match. So for me, I think it's already a success even before it kickstarts, and this boils down to proper organization.
All right, at this point we'll take a short break. When we come back from this break, we'll bring you the latest revolving around the world of football. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Right hand, and down goes Hooper straight away. Oh, what a point to end it on. So now this is when they're at their best. This is when they're 12 years for this. So drink it in. Still goes through all. To be immortality as an athlete.
from the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains. Through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human trafficker.
Honorable
It's time to bring you the latest from the world of football, and we start with the Nigerian Premier Football League as Shooting Stars extended their unbeaten streak to 3 games, courtesy of a hard-fought 1-0 draw with Gombe United at the Pantami Township Stadium. The hosts took the lead through Taye Yusuf in the 28th minutes. Gombe United held on to the lead for the remainder of the first half. Hadid Mohammed equalized for Shooting Stars 40 minutes from time. Effort by both sides to find the winner proved abortive until center referee Igwe Chilaka Ben from River State brought proceedings to an end. Shooting Stars increased their point haul to 31 following the statement. Benga Ogungbute side will host Akwa United at the Lake Salami Stadium in Ibadan in March Day 24 fixture on Sunday. So Shooting Stars maintain their winning streak after that 1-0 draw against Gombe United. Michael,
good one for them, and most especially going to the Pantami Stadium to get a point out there. I think it's a commendable one, because we know the Pantami Stadium as a slaughter ground for any away team that goes out there to play. It's always a very difficult ground for you to go out there and come back with all 3 points, and not even to get a point. It's always very, very difficult, because we know the fans out there, they are very, very passionate about their club side out there. So whenever you have a match at the Pantami Stadium or even Sani Abacha Stadium, these are some of the 2 big stadium in the northern in the northern axis, that whenever you go out there, getting a point out there seems to be a very big one. But then I think this result coming in from Shooting Stars is a great one for them, and also continue their 3-match winning streak is also a very good one. I mean, not being able to lose any game so far in 3 games that they've played so far, I think it's also an indication of the fact that they want to finish very strong in the league this season. Don't forget, they are also seated in the 11th on the table after playing 23 games as well. And Doma United, I think they are also battling relegation out there this season. They are seated 19 after 23 games as well. So I think this is the reason why Doma United had to lose all 3 points at home, is because of the fact that they have not been in the top the top gear this season. And they started the season in a fine footing, but then as they continue to come along, as the game wears on, they seems to have lost focus for me, and that is why they are struggling at the dying end of this season. But for me, I think it's a commendable result for Shooting Stars to go away at the Pantami Stadium to get a vital point. I think I want to say congratulations to them. And if it actually continues this way, we're definitely going to see more improvement in the league, because this is what we've been craving for, over the years, where team will go away despite the axis of the country that you are going to play your game. You should be rest assured that even if you go out there and you deserve to come back with a single point, you come back with a point. If you deserve to come back with all 3 points, then you come back with 3 points without any molestation, without any harassment, without any cause for alarm. So I think these are some of the things that will improve the course of the league.
I still talking about the MPFL, former Katsina United head coach, talking about Usman Adala. Of course, we hear that he might be one to take over the helm of affairs down there at Kobe United. Usman Adala, of course, Michael, is one man who is very much experienced in the Nigerian Premier Football League, even in the national team as well. I don't know what you make of it. We hear that the coach of Gombe United, Mohamed Baba Ganaro, of course, resigned from the post last week, maybe due to the fact that the results is not actually going. So you take a look at it, Gombe United are struggling in the relegation zone and at this point in time. Can this man talking about Usman Adala, you see him, of course, getting the job?
Yes, of course. Looking at the wealth of experience that he possesses, at least he's one man who also understands the league. He understands the terrain. Having been in one or two clubs out here in the Nigerian Premier Football League, I think he has garnered the experience needed to be able to take up the job, and not just taking up the job, but to also get a positive result that can help Gombe out of that relegation water that they find themselves. And also, coupled with the experience that he has garnered for the national team as well, adding that to what he knows already in the Nigerian Premier Football League, I think he has what it takes to be able to tinker, Gombe and get them out of the drop zone.
All right, still talking about the MPFL, we hear Nigerian Premier Football League side, Abia Warriors. Abia Warriors, they've actually been granted approval to play at their home games at the Umuahia Township Stadium. The MPFL Chief Operating Officer Davidson Wemi gave notice of the approval in a memo sent to the club. The memo stated that the provisional clearance is subjected to periodic review during the ongoing league season. Recall that Abia Warriors were banned from playing at their home ground following complaints from opposition teams due to the poor state of the playing surface. Abia Warriors will host Lowy Stars in March 2024 fixture at the refurbished Umuahia Stadium on Sunday. Michael, what do you make of it? Abia Warriors going back, of course, to their stadium.
I'm not happy going back to their stadium where they've actually, most of the away team that when they actually complained for how many months right now, going back there just shortly after less than 3 months or 4 months thereabout, how sure are we that those contours in that pitch that seems to be like a rally ground instead of a football ground, how sure are we that they've been able to fix the field, the pitch in order? So for me, I think I'm not happy. This is not the first time.
Before the approval, at least the league board, they've actually gone there to see the state of the pitch. This was actually approved by the league body, being led by David Benga Elegbeleye, and the chief operating officer talking about Davidson Owemi. Of course, he has been able to cross-check and know that yes, the pitch is okay before he actually granted his approval.
But there was also a clause that we have not also told the public out there, that before this approval was granted, they also put a clause that there is going to be annual checkup. I mean, quarterly, rather, if I must say.
That's how it's supposed to be.
What does that tell you? It tells you that indeed they are not convinced, they are not totally convinced about the level of the pitch out there.
If we ask, before this approval was granted, they are convinced, and that's why they granted them this approval. Now, the annual, review will be in order to, make the team, of course, continue to maintain the pitch. Because they might actually conclude, oh, we've done the pitch. There's no need of, doing it. So the annual review is to motivate or probably make the management to continue to put up the maintenance.
Kingsley, if we must tell ourselves the truth, or if we want the league to grow, we must also tell the public the truth out there. The truth is that that pitch is not in good condition. They just try to placate the people out there or to come to the media to paint it as though that pitch is in order. But I tell you, go and mark it down. In the next 6 months, you will definitely continue to hear this complaint from a away team out there, because I've taken time to go to take a look at that pitch. That pitch is nothing to write home about, Kingsley. It's a pitch that you cannot even pass a single ball from 1 meter to the next meter for such ball to go direct. Why? Because of the contour in that pitch. And you can't tell me in less than 4 or 3 months that you were able to fix this thing in order that can be able to.
Why would the league board approve a pitch that is not good enough?
Why wouldn't the league body approve it where the chairman of the club out there is a member, executive member of the NPFL? So these are some of the things. You have to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody that in the power, that is in the authority as well to be able to make a case for yourself and have a soft landing. Why would they not approve it where the chairman of the club is also a member of the NPFL board, an executive member for that matter? So unless we will continue to deceive ourselves, we'll say, okay, that stadium is okay, let us accept it. But I tell you, mark it down, in the next 6 months, you will definitely hear complaints from away team that go out there to play. If the stadium is not good enough, you must also put a ban to it and a time limit that until they meet such standard before you can also say, yes, we are lifting this ban on this stadium. Giving them this remedial measure, or a temporary hope that indeed that stadium is good, whereas we know that it has not met up the standard, that in due course, in less than 6 months, it will go back to normal. What is the essence of lifting the ban against them? So for me, I think we will continue to revolve around the truth, and continue to paint the picture that everything is okay with that pitch until the next 6 months before the truth will come out. We are here.
All right, let's keep our fingers crossed and see how this one, of course, will pan out in the coming days. But the league body have granted Abia Warriors, the approval to play at the Umuahia Township Stadium after we got the report that the stadium, of course, has been put in place. But we'll keep our fingers crossed and see how that matter unfold as it says. But let's talk about the UEFA Champions League. Michael, yesterday was really an impressive, day for the likes of Harry Kane and Bayern Munich, as they were able, of course, to overturn the result against Lazio to, of course, end that one in 3 goals to 1.
Of course, that is what is expected of Bayern Munich, coming at the back heel of drawing their last, home game at, in the Bundesliga, as they're now 10-point adrift of the league leader, which is Bayern Leverkusen, losing the cutting razor of the season, and also nearly out. Or we say that their hope of lifting the, the domestic league this season is very, very blank. So I think the only genuine and a credible hope that they have for, a title medal this season is the Champions League. And that is why they are putting their effort on the Champions League to ensure that at least they get to the final and be able to lift the Champions League. And that is why the likes of Harry Kane, Thomas Muller, and even Jamal Musiala came to the party yesterday. They had to, discipline themselves in the first 15 minutes of the game, where Lazio actually dominated proceedings, just that they couldn't find the cutting, edge in the 15 minutes that they dominated. So I think Bayern Munich truly know the responsibility. They truly know that the fans out there are not truly happy about their performance of the season so far. So they want to pay back the fans in a good way for being loyal by making sure they get to the Champions League final and possibly lifting it, even though they are not doing quite well in the league. So I think that is the only reason why I think that Bayern Munich were able to overcome certain Lazio yesterday. And of course, Lazio, they don't have that Champions League pedigree. You expected, though, that Bayern Munich is going to dismantle them at their home after, Lazio took that, first leg win, courtesy of that penalty coming from the boot of, their captain, Ciro Immobile. So I think it was a great display, especially for the man himself, talking about Harry Kane, the goal machine who can't stop scoring. I just wish him well this season, hoping that he's going to get to the Champions League final and possibly lift it with, Bayern Munich. But not forgetting as well that there were other players that also made record for themselves. The goalkeeper, talking about Manuel Neuer, also equaled the record of Iker Casillas of 57 clean sheets in the Champions League game. So we also have Thomas Muller also making another record for himself, being one of the Bayern Munich player, oldest player to score in the Champions. So it's a day of record for Bayern Munich, and also they capped it all with progressing through to the next stage of the Champions League.
And talking about Harry Kane, he has now scored 27 Champions League goals, with Wayne Rooney scoring 30 the only Englishman to score more in the competition. He also has more combined goals and assists in this season's competition than any other player. And talking about Lazio, Lazio have won just 2 of the last 20 Champions League away games, keeping just 1 clean sheet in that run. And since talking about Harry Kane, he has now scored 33 goals in 33 games for Bayern Munich in all competition this season, beating his tally from 49 games with Tottenham Hotspur last season, which was 32 goals. Meanwhile, no player in Europe Big 5 leagues has been involved in more goals than Kane this season. 33 goals, 8 assists, of course, for the man so far this season. Michael, what do you make of it? He's been shouldering the burden, of the team, because he's a little optimistic, of winning the title for himself. In fact, that's the reason why he went down to Bayern Munich, looking at with the fact that, of course, at least, even though he doesn't win nothing, the league title, he will be able to lay his hand on it. But unfortunately, this season, things are not going well for Bayern Munich in the German Bundesliga. But the UEFA Champions League is here for him. They're in the quarterfinal. Can they actually win this one to rescue rescue the season for the team?
Yes, that is what I said earlier. I think Bayern Munich, they have the chance of getting to the final and possibly lifting it so as to rescue the season, for themselves, having lost out of the curtain raiser, even the BFA Cup as well. They are nearly out of it. The league as well, it's almost looking impossible for them. So the only way to remedy the season for themselves is just to go and win the Champions League. But then I think it's going to be a very difficult call, because we still have the traditional teams out there. The team that have won the Champions League the highest number of times, which is Real Madrid, 14 times. We still have Manchester City as well, who also is doing pretty well. We still have a couple of teams out there that they can also, mount a very stiff opposition for Bayern Munich. But if you ask me, I think Bayern Munich this season, the only way or the only hope that they have of laying their hand on a major trophy is that Champions League. And that is the reason why I think it is very, very doable for them.
Yesterday, Kylian Mbappe came to the party and he was dancing all through with, of course, 2 goals, in that particular encounter. What do you make of it? What do you make of his performance yesterday for PSG?
For me, I think the quality of Kylian Mbappe is never in doubt in any day, any time. He always delivers. Whenever you need him, he always comes to the party, just like you said. He danced in the party yesterday, Dorime for that matter. But then, of course, there are other issues that also helps him to also continue in that fine form. We had the hint that he's going to leave at the end of the season. And for me, I think Kylian Mbappe wants to leave on a high note, and that is why he continued to score the goals. Because for me, I think he wants to maintain a very, very good relationship between him and the club, even if he wants to leave. And that is the reason why he's playing cool, giving the goals. Even sometimes where the coach had to sub him, he doesn't complain as well. He just go out very quietly. But then, I think for me, it was a great display from Kylian Mbappe, scoring 46 goals and becoming one of the player in the history of the Champions League at age 25 to 24 to score about 45 goals plus. The only man who did that in the past is Lionel Messi, who also scored 45 goals in his when he was 25, when he was 24. Kylian Mbappe at 25, have scored 46 Champions League goals. So for me, I think it was a massive one for him. But then, the truth is that Kylian Mbappe will definitely leave at the end of the season to Real Madrid. And PSG is already planning life without Kylian Mbappe, and that is why he had to be subbed in their first half in the Ligue 1 last weekend, where the coach actually subbed him. Instead of going to sit at the substitute bench, he rather opted out to change and went to sit on the stand with the mom. So it clearly tells you that indeed, definitely Kylian Mbappe will certainly leave. And of course, immediately after the game, the coach was asked the reason for that substitution. He said, he made this very clear, that they are starting to learn life without Mbappe, and that is the reason for it. So I think in all, it was a great display from Kylian Mbappe.
great display from Kylian Mbappe. And talking about the fact, talking about him, finishing on the high this season. The Champions League is one title that PSG they've really looked for by all means. They brought in Neymar and he couldn't deliver the title to them. They also brought Messi, couldn't deliver the title to them. Kylian Mbappe, of course, he's been there in the team, but you take a look at it now, it seems as if all is being wholly laid on him, to lead the side at this point in time. This might probably be his last season in the team. Do you see Mbappe, of course, finishing the season with the UEFA Champions League trophy for PSG?
That is a very tall question, a very, very tall one. But then, this is football. Anything is very, very possible. But then, realistically speaking, Kingsley, I think it's going to be a tall mountain for Kylian Mbappe to climb with certain PSG to lift the Champions League, which is the holy grail that have eluded PSG over the years. So they've actually assembled one of the best players in the world to ensure that they lay their hand on that missing holy grail, but then unable to do that. Saw the likes of Cavani come there. He tried his best. He couldn't work out. Saw his Zlatan Ibrahimovic. We've seen Thiago Silva. A whole lot of players had Neymar Jr. Ramos, Lionel Messi. Where should I start? Julian Draxler, Di Maria. These are players that PSG have assembled in the past in their quest to lift the Champions League. It wasn't to be. Is it now that most of the big names, Sergio Ramos, Lionel Messi, Neymar Jr., have left the squad, leaving only the big name? Kylian Mbappe, is it that Kylian Mbappe that is going to, leave the champion? For me, I think it's going to be a very difficult one for PSG and for Kylian Mbappe. But then, like I will keep saying, this is football. Anything at all is possible.
It's a game of football. Anything, of course, is possible. I'll keep our fingers crossed. Can Mbappe, give PSG the UEFA Champions League title? You keep our fingers crossed and see how that, of course, will go. Before the season comes to an end. But tonight, Manchester City will national against FC Copenhagen, and we'll see Real Madrid against RB Leipzig as well tonight. Michael, what do you make of these fixtures tonight?
For Manchester City, I think they are just going to put the icing on the cake, and they have a big game in the over the weekend, this coming weekend against Liverpool, who for me I think is going to be a title decider. So I expect Manchester City, led by Pep Guardiola, to start most of their younger squad, maybe the likes of Bob and Williams and some of the French players are there in this very one. So as to reserve his key players, the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, Erling Haaland, and the rest of them Phil Foden for the the league game against Liverpool, which for me I think is going to be one of the biggest games in the whole of Europe this weekend. So, but then you can't actually take anything away from this Manchester City squad. Even if they had to use their second 11 or even Team B, tinkered by a certain Pep Guardiola, who is a master tactician, they would always grant out the result. I'm just looking at Erling Haaland increasing his whole tally in the Champions League so far this season. But I assure you that Manchester City will definitely come out on top in that very one. And for the other game between Real Madrid and Leipzig, I think it's going to be a stroll in the park for Real Madrid. We know what Real Madrid can do, but then this is football. Anything is possible, but I don't see RB Leipzig, having a better side of Real Madrid.
All right, I'll keep our fingers crossed. We'll be back here tomorrow by 7 a.m. To bring you the latest results, concerning the UEFA Champions League matches tonight. Mike, it's been an impressive time this evening.
Yeah, always a pleasure doing this with you.
All right, don't forget, Peace and Unity was the pathways to progress. You can go down to a different social media handle. The conversation continues right there. My name is Kingsley Emmanuel. Thanks for watching.
Oh, what a point to end it on.
So now this is when they're at their best. And it's when they're 12 years for this. So drink it in.
Still goes to
from the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains through the